In Lake Barrington, Illinois, a man is facing firearm charges after shooting himself in the leg. Upon the police arriving and applying a tourniquet to the wound, he informed them that he had a dream about a home intruder. During the dream, he retrieved his 357 Magnum and fired at the intruder, shooting himself in the leg while he was asleep and waking up from his dream.
So this is like a case of like serious sleepwalking.
Yeah. Or that's like hyper realistic dreams. Where was his
Yeah,
gun at? Was it right under his pillow?
yeah, no kidding.
He just
Couldn't
sleeps
have
with
been
it in
locked
his
up that
hand.
well.
Yeah, no doubt. Couldn't find a whole lot of details on this outside of like that he shot himself. I was also very curious. Did he like get up and retrieve it, or was it right there next to him? You know what I mean? I couldn't
Yeah.
really.
How much of this was like, how far did he have to go out of his way to shoot himself in the leg?
Yeah, and then and obviously that's enough pain to wake you up, but it seems like a shitty way to wake up.
It must have already been in his hand.
It had to have been. It had to have been very, very close. And to be fair, that sounds like maybe he's instinctually kind of conditioned to reach over and grab his firearm every time he hears something weird or gets startled. And it
Yeah,
was like second nature to do it even when he was asleep, when he was afraid in his dream.
yeah, it's really weird.
All right, next story is in a Walmart in Crocker, Texas. So this was like last week. In a Walmart in Crocker, Texas, a woman named Rebecca Taylor attempted to buy another lady's 1-year-old child for $250,000, claiming that the child was a perfect fit for her. The woman refused and erred on the side of caution, waiting for Rebecca to leave the store before exiting herself, but was approached again in the parking lot, where Rebecca began to cause a scene, shouting and raising the offer to $500,000. After being denied again, she threatened the woman, stating that if she did not take the offer, then she would just take the kid from her. The police were called and she was detained and is facing felony charges for attempting to purchase a child.
Literally nothing is off limits at Walmart. You could tell me anything happens there and I'll believe you.
Yeah, there's Walmart's. I expected this article to be at Walmart. When I read the
Yeah,
headline that a lady tried to buy a kid, I was like, I bet it was at a Walmart.
yeah, no kidding.
Is that the self checkout? I guess. And the lady was like checking out her groceries, and some other lady comes up. She's like, "Hey, is that for sale?"
Yeah,
Like, no, that's my son.
I mean, I would have declined it too, at least the first offer. At the second one, I might have taken it.
Yeah, half a mil.
Yeah,
At that, I think I just buy like a really nice weapon and come get the kid back.
yeah.
Still have money to spend. All right, yeah. Now we're back. That was a fucking headache.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, so for the people listening, my fucking computer just blue screened us and shut me out of the whole meeting. Had to reboot, and then I needed updates apparently. So that's fun. Threw a huge fucking wrench right in the middle of us recording. I'm back to the podcast now. Hello, welcome to the Fundamentals of Nonsense. I'm your host Sam, and I am very happy to tell you guys I have my brother on today. He's going to be my co-host.
Hello. I haven't come up with an alias.
Yeah, not yet.
No,
So I thought about it too a little bit because I am Sam Handwich, and I was like, you could be Samburger Handwich.
Samburger.
Samburger Handwich.
Andy Samburger.
It would have been hilarious though if we could have. I like Samburger, but it's like they mom and dad tried with me, and then they figured out that my name sucked and had a better one for you, and I'm Sam, and you're Samburger. I
Yeah.
kind of got to live in the shadow of your like 6 extra letters for the rest of my life. We kind of discussed a little bit on the phone prior to this the announcement of Apple Vision Pro, and it looks like the real deal, dude. When it comes to future tech, the price point hurts a little bit. Comes in right around $3,500. Looks like the release date is until possibly the fall, I think, of 2025. But it is the very first step into actual augmented reality. That's a little scary to see technology. To me, from I experienced the first cell phones and all of that, and to me, seeing technology like this is wild, and it's amazing. It's just scary. Once you see technology transition to the point that it is now, augmented reality that's a wild term for me to use. Seeing technology advance the way it has over the past 20 years.
Yeah, it's crazy. If Moore's law continues at the rate, I think they said that it was starting to slow down, but maybe that's not right. But imagine where it's going to be, 30 more years from now.
Yeah. Yeah. We kind of get the privilege too to know that we're going to be here for that also. But
Yeah.
seeing it move at the speed that it has just since you and I have grown up it's astronomical. The change in technology and the change in how much technology is used in our day-to-day life.
Yeah, I agree. This is it just the concept that they're working on, or is this like actually going into production?
No, it's in full production. So you can on YouTube, there's videos of people who have tried it out. They claim that they have seen the future of filmmaking through experiencing this technology as well. It is fully immersive. So it's a strong piece of technology. I don't have a ton of the hyper analytical data on this. I didn't really think that maybe that wasn't too user friendly for listeners for
That's
to
fair.
break down a lot of the actual processing technology that's built into this, but it's a full headset and it's tech all the way to the tippy top of it. And it's got a like a polished glass lens on the outside of it with a bunch of cameras and it projects your face through it. So it's full blown microchips and plastic and everything all the way through to that glass lens. And the glass lens actually produces your eyes on the outside of it, which is insane because it's not see through. When I first saw it in its debut, I thought it was see through because it allows people around you to see your eyes and your reactions.
It must be pretty convincing if you thought that it was see-through. It must do a pretty good job.
Yeah, it looks like a see through headset.
Is this like you see those backpacks that there's lights on them, you can make like a picture on the back. Is it kind of like that? Like is it pixelated? Is your face pixelated or is it completely smooth?
No, it's smooth, real time. It's a wild piece of technology.
So
Let me
there's got
see
to
if
be a
I can.
screen on the outside as well.
It definitely has a projection on the interior of it. Let me see if I can pull up a photo of this for you real fast. Let me go back to.
I'm at my computer now. I could probably look it up.
So can you see this?
Yeah, I can.
So you see there, it
Okay.
projects skin color, emotion, eyebrow movement, all of it through the actual lens.
I thought this device was going to be a lot bigger, like cover your whole face, and it was projecting the whole face, but it's mainly just the eyes.
Yeah, it's a crazy for me. That's a crazy thing. It's a crazy development there because it's all tech behind that.
You sure that's not see-through?
So I'm
I'm gonna
just
have to do some research on that. It's actually really, really interesting.
yeah. So you like scroll with your hands. You scroll with your
Wait, so you
hands
have
and
you
you
have
like
like a
click your
controller?
finger. No controller. You just like click your fingers together to
Oh,
to click on stuff. You scroll with your finger like that, and then you do this like a little pinch. That's when you pick things.
weird.
So
I've
you
got
can
the
see right
Oculus.
here,
Oh, I see.
just scrolling and then pinching, and the cameras on the front of the VR headset pick up that motion tracking.
Yeah, the Oculus Quest actually has motion tracking. I don't know if it came with it or not, but I noticed the setting like a month ago. It's where you don't even have to use the controllers anymore. It's very limited though, because it's got to be able to see your hands.
Right,
I mean, I'm sure that does too, but like in order for it to work, your hands got to be pretty much in front of it completely.
right. Yeah, it's I watched this video. It actually started popping up all over my social media, and I got very curious, and I spent the time to sit down and listen to it and watch the presentation that they put onto YouTube, and I was just absolutely floored that technology is there,
For
and
this,
it's a the back of the headset has a cable that just goes into like a power pack that slides right into your back pocket or your side pocket, and you can take it with you wherever you go.
that's weird. You would think that it would be built into the unit.
Yeah, it kind of is. It didn't look like there was a detachable spot there. I don't know if you just plug the headset in or you drop it on a dock or what you do there, but I'm curious what the battery life looks like for one, because it seems like a ton of power that would need to process something that powerful. But at the same time, and things like that have happened in technology that allow for very strong, powerful, long-lasting battery life. So to me,
Yeah.
it's bizarre and kind of scary to see this kind of tech being normal in the next couple of years. But at the same time, it seems like a huge achievement.
Yeah, no kidding. It's crazy, like how far we've come. They say the military, I mean, I don't know, they say, I've heard that the military is 30 years more technologically advanced than we are. If that's true, imagine like where we're actually at.
Right. I had heard that also. I always was under the impression that we were roughly a decade behind. When you historically look at technology, it's usually about a decade, but how fast technology has moved now, that timeline point it has to have changed, right?
Yeah, you'd think so. Maybe it's I don't know. I don't know if it's closer, like we're closer now to where we're actually at, how am I trying to say that? I don't know if it's still 30 years that the military is more technologically advanced than we are, because of how fast things are progressing, imagine how far they would have to actually be if they were 30 years more advanced. Because imagine where we're going to be at in 30 years.
Yeah,
Yeah, it seems like astronomical. Like, surely they can't be that far ahead of us.
right. But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised either. You know,
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
we've kind of talked about this a lot. We've shared a lot of common interests in technology and the advancement of the human race. And I'm a firm believer that if human beings could just fucking get along, we'd be in space.
Yeah,
We'd be inhabiting other planets. We'd be out there exploring. We could colonize Mars. I think if the
I
human
think
race all worked together.
I agree with you completely. I think we'd be a lot further, but greed holds us back. I feel like if you can't get rich from it, what's the point of doing it? That's like the capitalist mindset.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame to think like that. You know, that we could be out there. We could probably see buildings on Mars or a biodome or something at this point in history instead of Apple VR headset.
Yeah,
If we shared that level of technology with each other, and then that 30-year gap, that 10 to 30-year gap that potentially exists outside of that seems.
yeah, I agree. I think I don't know. I don't know what I think, how far I think we'll go in my lifetime.
Yeah, I think about that a lot, you know, because by the way, today is Father's Day. We're going to release the day after, but happy Father's Day to you and to any listener who is a father as well. Keep it up. The
Happy
world
Father's Day to
needs
you all.
the world needs good dads. It really does. And I've got a little one on the way, and she's due here in just over a month. And that was a big kind of driving point for launching the podcast was to leave an impression and something that can be left behind and memorable and kind of create a legacy. I wonder what the world's going to look like for her when she's my age and how technology is going to look then. You know, because I can't guarantee that I'll be around for that, but I can't help but to be ever so curious.
With how much medicine has advanced just in our lifetime, I don't know how true it is, but I've heard that the first person that'll live forever is alive today.
No
And
shit.
I think I could kind of believe that with how much we're progressing in medicine. We might be able to push them a little bit further, a little bit further, a little bit further, and to where we'll always be outrunning death.
Back to the technology advancements. I actually watched the TED Talks. The guy on the red circle was him and his wife are like co-founders for a tech company called Humane. And about a month ago, they debuted tech there. They didn't release a title or name of the tech. They just debuted it very briefly. He was out there on the floor in the red circle, and he had a small piece of tech in his jacket pocket on his chest, and you could kind of see a little lens on it. And he was explaining that he thought AI was the future of technology. What comes next is AI and human beings living in coexistence. You could hear his phone ring, and he put his hand up in front of that device, and it projected that his wife was calling him. And he took the call, and she asked him if he was at TED, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm on the red circle." She's like, "Oh, okay. Well, make sure to mention me, and I love you, and goodbye." And she got off the phone, and he starts explaining the technology a little more. And he gets to a point in this presentation where he touches it. He's asking the device where he could buy something for Mother's Day or something bizarre like that. And it gave him an open, out loud response that he could go to like a shopping center that was local. This also helps you traverse places that you're not used to being in. And so he puts two fingers on the device and he speaks out loud. And then it repeats back in French with his own voice fluently. He was like, this is technology that takes the phone away from you and what you're experiencing. And it's all AI driven. And so the longer you carry the device and the longer you pair with it, the more the AI gets to understand you, what your algorithms look like for the stuff that you want to go see and do, or what you're actually searching for, or the places that you're at. It geostamps you in locations, so your translation is there. And the artificial intelligence itself is supposed to grow with you during the process of having this.
Well, talk about data mining. I feel like there's going to be a lot of people that are not going to really like this or subscribe to this, if you will, because everybody's scared of, like giving out their information, and you're giving all of your information to one thing for it to learn you.
Yeah, it's like Jarvis.
Yeah,
Which is so weird to me that we're to that point now. AI has moved so fast, and I feel like AI on a consumer level has only debuted within the past like 8 or 9 months.
We had mild versions of AI,
Yeah,
I
it
think.
predates
Like,
for sure. Like Ask Jeeves, Google.
yeah, yeah. Even YouTube, recommending what to
Yeah,
watch.
yeah. It's algorithmic based for sure, but this is more like it's like Jarvis. You know what I mean? It gets to understand you and your personality to a higher degree than we've allowed technology to be in our lives. I mean, we carry around a phone, and it does a lot of that heavy lifting already.
A couple years ago, I saw this app called Replica on your phone, and it was like a chat bot essentially. But you talk to it, and it's supposed to learn how you talk and what you say. And it had like a AI algorithm that the more you talk to it, the more it resembled you. The idea was after you died or something, your friends or your family could go on there and talk to it, and it would talk to them exactly how you would.
AI now can understand every inflection and
Yeah, it's
create a
crazy.
voice like identical. It's remarkable. I don't know. It's terrifying. I don't know that AI is the answer. I don't know that everybody needs to be as afraid of it as they are.
It's definitely something to be afraid of.
It for sure is. It's I'm scared of it, but I don't know that if maybe my fear is a bit misplaced either. You know what I mean? I don't know if
Yeah,
I'm
like
just a conspiracy theorist internally. You know what I mean? And I'm like, you guys, one of these days you won't be able to turn that switch off. And
yeah,
it's gonna just be you. So that's we talked about immortality, and the reason why I wanted to get into this conversation was so the person that is going to be alive forever is potentially alive today. But what does that look like? Is that actually them, or is that like a copied version of them that continues to live?
true. I think that's a tough one to answer because I
Yes.
think if
So
like,
is it immortality or singularity?
well, I think if you like uploaded your consciousness and stuff, that's not actually you. That's kind of like the replica app, I feel like. But if you keep your biological body, I think that it's still you because they say that all the cells in your body, if I'm not mistaken, are replaced every 7 years. Every cell in your body is a new cell. And then you're looking at the ship of the Theseus. Is that
Yeah.
still me? I
Yeah.
feel like I'm still the same person I was 7 years ago.
Yeah. If you rebuild every plank on this ship, is it still the same ship?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think if you kept your biological self, that it is still you. Because I still think I'm me from 7 years ago after all my cells have been replaced.
I guess maybe that does open the question medically is how do you stop cell degeneration in the brain? Because even if you could preserve the entire body, the brain is prone to degeneration, such as Alzheimer's and things like that.
Yeah.
How do you prevent that? How do you preserve the brain to last forever? Because if you keep the biological brain, absolutely, you're definitely still you.
Um, from how I understand it, and I'm by no means an expert, but if I remember right, your DNA has like these little ends on it called telomeres or telomeres. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. But every time it replicates, those telomeres get smaller and smaller until eventually they don't have any left. And then your DNA starts making errors. And that's what old age is, from what I understand. And so I think the idea would maybe to increase those telomeres or keep them permanently somehow.
To preserve the youthfulness of the cellular structure of the brain.
Yeah, to make them where they can divide forever, essentially.
Maybe the person that will be alive forever that is alive today is fucking mad healthy. You know what I
Yeah, I
mean?
think that probably has something to do with it.
Yeah, if you're a
I,
prime
I,
candidate to be patient zero.
yeah, I imagine if the first person to live forever is alive today, they're probably not smoking a pack of cigarettes and drinking a 12 pack every day.
Nah, I'm fucking doomed. That's to me, that's such a crazy concept. Technology moving to the like historically, we're getting to the point of technology where we're wondering if we're crossing the lines slowly of singularity and of immortality.
Yeah, I think there's probably a good chance that we're heading that direction. I think eventually one day we'll have it all figured out. I highly doubt it's going to be in my lifetime, but I think one day we'll have it all figured out. We'll know how the brain works, how the body works, and we'll be cyborgs, we'll be able to.
Yeah. I mean, Cyberpunk 2077, just running around, or like what was that, Altered Carbon? Just pop a little chip out of your spinal cord and put it in the next body.
I don't remember. I don't think I've seen that or played Cyberpunk.
Oh, well, Cyberpunk, I think, is less kind of the point I was trying to make is the body mods and shit like that. But Altered Carbon had their like personalities and memories and all that shit stored in like a little chip and just plugs it in. You plug it into the spinal cord of a cloned body or something like that.
That sounds like the beginning of if it doesn't go bankrupt. What is that Elon Musk
Oh,
Neuralink?
Neuralink, yeah. Yeah, Neuralink is fucking crazy. The applications that Elon claims are the
Or
capacity
possible.
that has. Yeah, it could cure you being a paraplegic.
Yeah,
It can bypass the neurological pathways that prevent your limbs from moving.
what you were talking about with altered carbon, that was one of the supposed uses for Neuralink is that you'd be able to, implant memories or skills, if you will. If you wanted to be a master
Right.
chef, you can just go in there and like download all the knowledge to be able to do it. I don't know how practical that is,
That's
but
the fucking Matrix.
yeah, I mean, as far as we know, there could be, something biologically or physically stopping us from being able to do that. It may never be possible, but the idea that it could be is,
Upload a manual to your brain right away and you know how to disassemble, fly, repair, everything.
yeah, we'd have literally a world full of super soldiers.
Yeah, that's the Matrix. They just upload the manual into
Yeah.
Neo's head. And now he knows jujitsu and how to fly a helicopter.
I mean, if you think about it, if that's possible, literally like college degrees and like special niche masters it'll be a thing of the past, like
Yeah.
everybody would be able to know how to do anything.
It has the potential to be the next step in evolution. So what you eliminate there is procrastination and discipline. They lack impulse control when it comes to going out and learning things. And first off, sometimes intelligence is in the way at the same
Yeah,
time. Like
I mean that's
I can't go read a fucking manual on a Blackhawk and be like, yeah, I can fix everything on this just because I thumbed through this notebook. You know what I mean?
yeah. If I could
But
be an astrophysicist in 5 minutes, then yeah, I think I'd do it. But if I got to go to school for 4 years, I think I'm out of luck.
that's a crazy concept to think that, Elon's working on a lot of things like that, like getting us to Mars, the Neuralink. I am not a 100% Elon supporter, but I do think that that guy is trying very hard to advance the human race.
I agree completely. He has done some questionable things, and I get that, but he probably dreams way too big too. But the fact that his sole purpose is to try to, from what I understand, is try to like improve humanity, even if
It's
he's dreaming a little big.
Yeah, yeah, and his personal life is a bit wonky. His living in a tiny home to feel what poverty's like, or whatever the circumstances were there. He was like, I'm not tied to my material
Yeah,
stuff.
don't get me
Like,
started on his kids' names.
yeah, I don't even. First off, if you know how to pronounce them, you know more than I do.
I do not.
It looks like it's written in binary,
Yeah,
but yeah, it's I have been a firm believer that the guy is trying to get humanity to the next step in evolution. I think Neuralink is so far out of our spectrum of what we believe could even be real in terms of technology that if we saw it operating, it would terrify us, but also intrigue.
if they think that they had it figured out on the Neuralink and they needed test subjects, I think I would do it.
I think I would have to see some other test subjects first.
I don't
You
want to
know
be
what
the
I
first
mean?
one. Yeah, don't get me
No,
wrong.
I'm
I don't
not
want to be the
patient
first
zero.
one. But I don't have to worry about that because there was already a pig, so I'm fine.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, that pig knew karate and how to fly
Yeah.
Blackhawks. Yeah, I'm sold, dude. Put it in me. I'm excited to see where that goes. At the same time, I'm terrified, but that's maybe just the fact that I'm in my 30s.
Yeah.
And I remember when we didn't have cell phones, and now we're talking about plugging the world into somebody's brain. And they stand
Yeah.
up out of a wheelchair and can do karate.
I think it'll probably be one of those things that in 200 years from now, they'll look back at it and be like, yeah, this person had a good idea, but it was just way too early.
It was before its time.
Yeah.
The idea of it being successful, and there's not a single human being with a handicap after that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think we're probably dreaming a little big though, because I mean, the prediction of the future is always wrong. I mean, look at Back to the Future, the movie, what they
Yeah,
predicted. I mean, it's not terribly far off, but we don't have hoverboards and stuff.
this was when that movie was based. I feel like there was another movie that recently was brought up like that too. It was like a end of days movie, and it was like, oh
Are
yeah,
you
this
talking
was
about December or 2012 or whatever it was?
no,
2021?
no.
Wait, I don't remember what it's called.
2012. I remember that they made big blockbuster films about that, and
Yeah,
I was a firm believer. And at the time, I was young and very impressionable, and I was so worried about 2012,
yeah,
and I was terrified of it. And I watched the clock turn midnight and just waited for the sirens to go off, and it didn't happen. And I was like,
yeah.
motherfucker.
I remember I was there with you.
Yeah, I remember that being a really big point in my life where I was like, all right, I don't think conspiracy theories are for me. Spent all
Yeah.
my money on beer and shit that night. I was broke the next day, you know? That was a wild conspiracy. I dove into a bunch of the other ones after that, but I never settled into a niche like that when it came to conspiracies, but I always loved the hollow earth theory.
Yeah. I know this episode isn't about conspiracy theories, but one that my friends keep trying to get me to check out is the Denver airport. Apparently there's something crazy with the Denver airport.
Really? So we've kind of worked through the material here a little bit. I was going to kind of talk about we could talk about this real fast before we get there, but I have a subject matter here for the end of the show that is kind of conspiracy driven. But I wanted to touch base on this real fast. The alien footage that is working its way through the internet right now. But like a couple of months ago in Vegas, a police officer had a body cam on and saw something like greenish blue, like crashing down in Vegas. Like an hour later, a family calls and says, "Hey, there's some weird things in my backyard. They're 8 to 10 feet tall. They don't look human. I'm pretty sure they're aliens." And the cops show up, and they're also interrogating people at the same time, asking people in Vegas if they saw something crash land. And the police officer's like, "I know this sounds crazy, but I wouldn't be asking if my partner's body cam footage didn't show this." And so they're investigating at the time they get this phone call, and they go and talk to this family, and this family has a video that I couldn't really decipher of something in between like a couple of tractors in their backyard. And there's the internet swears up and down that there's alien footage in there. I couldn't personally see it. And then another video gets released, and there is this fucking creepy ass alien. And it's like ribs. You can see its ribs like flexing as it moves, and it kind of squats down, and it looks disoriented and scared. I can't say that, yeah, this was real or yeah, this was fake. I take everything as a grain of salt on the internet because it's so easy. They probably just plugged it into an AI system or like make this look real.
Yeah, I was
You know
gonna
what I
say, I
mean?
mean, technology, how much we've been talking about technology advancing and stuff. I feel like this would probably be pretty easy to fake if,
Yeah. So I don't put a lot of stock in this story, but the footage was really, really crazy. And it had like muscles that were moving around, and it was like a nighttime shot. So it's all in black and white. And it looked pretty convincing. The eyes were like glowing in the camera, and it was terrifying, but it was naked, which is a huge pet peeve of mine when it comes to aliens. I know we've kind of discussed this, but whatever their anatomy looks like, for sure they probably want to protect all that gooey, squishy stuff that's
yeah,
underneath the skin.
you
So
got
it's
a
a pet
good
peeve of
point.
mine. So I thought about that a lot too, and I was like, well, what if this thing was like an ejection pod? And actual aliens, like the powerful ones, were like, this fucking thing we picked up on this other planet is way too dangerous to keep on the ship. We got to shoot it off on the next planet we find. And they send
Yeah,
down some hyper dangerous predator, you know?
let's pick the only planet around that has anything living on it and shoot it
Yeah.
there. Cool. So you're saying this might be the beginning of a horror movie?
Yeah, I don't know, man. If like fucking 62 people get shredded out of Walmart next week by a weird
Yeah, at
unidentified
a
creature
Walmart.
in Vegas, yeah, don't be surprised. In space travel, time displacement always throws me off. Aliens, are they just like nomads, just out on their own? Because when they leave their society, time displacement happens, right? They would show back up home, and it'd be way in the future.
Yeah, yeah. That's the biggest problem for me with aliens. Is like the galaxy is incredibly big. The closest star to us is like 2 light years away or something. The light that we see when we look up in the sky is 2 years old. There's just so much space between everything that there's no way. I don't think that we've ever been contacted by aliens or aliens have ever been here because if they come from anywhere even relatively close, I mean, it's still going to take so long.
And it's a one-way trip in terms of displacement. You know what I mean? If they traveled millions or billions of light years across the galaxy to get here, they have
Yeah.
no idea what they have to go back to.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, because people make the argument, that, oh, well, they have faster than light travel or as fast as light travel. But I mean, if they did that, they're traveling so fast that from how I understand special relativity, when they go back, I mean, it'll be so much longer.
Yeah, that's a factor that like movies and TV shows and conspiracy theories, nothing ever take into consideration is time displacement.
I'm not a special relativity professor or anything. I don't know anything about special relativity. Besides, you go fast,
Time's
you move
weird.
through time. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's weird.
Yeah, time gets weird. Time displacement is always something that makes me so curious about how space travel would work. I mean, it would have to be like when you see arcs in movies, you know, and they send them off with like plant life and
Yeah.
embryos and cellular species to like save the human race, but at a time when the rest of the human beings are dead.
Yeah, you're saying that their ship or whatever they're traveling with would have to be like self-sufficient, right?
Yeah, it would. It's a one-way road,
Yeah, yeah, no.
unless they just open up, unless their technology can just open up a wormhole
Ooh, you
where
got a point.
time is not prevalent. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if it was instantaneous travel,
Yeah,
then I guess that wouldn't be an issue then. Or or I mean if they what if their whole world essentially like their ship is everything. Maybe they're just wanderers, you know? Like their ship is totally self-sufficient
yeah,
and they have nothing to go
vagabond.
back to.
Yeah, they're like vagabond nomads.
I mean, if they're already traveling between worlds from what it sounds like relatively easy, I think they've got their fusion reactors and they can pull energy out of the vacuum of space.
Why the fuck would they be naked? You know, that's people having like a species having technology to that scale, but then walking around with their dongs out. Just
Well, I mean, they've
it
got
doesn't
force
sit well with
fields.
me. I won't waste a ton of your time with this conversation because I feel like I can go down the rabbit hole here. Dude, I'm not gonna keep you too much longer. Thank you for being on tonight. This was a
Yeah,
blast. I look forward to having you on in the future, and this was so much fun. And we grew up having these conversations. Yeah, and it's a privilege to have you, dude. I love you.
I love you too, man.
Happy Father's Day. And this has been the Fundamentals of Nonsense, and we love you both, or whatever.